What up guys, it is Justice here, welcome to the second episode of the Slaying Sunday series, and as you can see I'm starting at Fire Giants. So Fire Giants, they are an okay average task to do. I would say do them, because at the end of the day you can quickly set up a cannon here at the dungeon within the waterfall, waterfall layer. I'm not even sure what it's called, but if you've done the waterfall quest you can get to this spot. Very, very handy, and obviously I've got a royal cannon which I got from my Summoning Sunday series, which I absolutely adore and love. Look at that beautiful thing. So yeah, I do Fire Giants, and I didn't think it was too bad, you know, it was alright. And as you can see, I'm using Revolution again. I've been absolutely loving Revolution, guys. I think it's a fantastic attribute to the game. It really allows you to AFK Slayer efficiently again. Obviously you can be a bit more efficient if you don't use Revolution, but when you're killing low level monsters and you're grinding out those abilities, you know, Revolution is definitely the way to go. And with Revolution you can just whack on that ultimate ability, which I tend to use Sunshine in these situations, and then for 30 seconds you've got that extra 50% damage as well, so it's quite nice. And Fire Giants, you know, I thought it was an okay task. You know, they drop rune scimitars every so often, but most of the time I wasn't really picking up anything. They don't drop anything that good anymore. I remember back in the day when I was a lower Slayer level and when the cannon wasn't really introduced, things like that, and you used to go and use your whip, your Abyssal Whip against the Fire Giants, and that was quite good because you could pick up some golden charms, and they used to drop, it just seemed like they dropped more things which are worthwhile. But as you can see, I just absolutely KO'd that Fire Giant there, so it's definitely easier to kill them nowadays, and especially when you've got that cannon in place. It may be more expensive to do that method, but with auto retaliate on it, it means the majority of the time you don't really need to click on them. But again, if you want to be a bit more efficient, it's definitely worthwhile clicking on the Fire Giants whilst you're doing this method. So guys, it's been a long week. Definitely work's been absolutely crazy this week, and essentially if you guys know me well enough by now, if you've watched my Summoning Sunday series or if you've watched the first episodes of this one, this series is a little bit different. It gives me a bit of time to relax, chill out, and talk to you guys about my week, what I've been up to, also whatever pops into my mind. And of course this Slaying Sundays series is around me going from novice to a Slayer master. Now that can be with regards to experience, so getting to know which tasks to do and which to skip, which I'll give you knowledge around in terms of the decisions I make when I'm carrying out a task. And obviously it changes throughout the time you do Slayer, so to this date you will get up-to-date information on what tasks are worthwhile to do with the current setups, etc., which you can carry out now in terms of Verdis or Magic, Ancients, Momentum, Revolution, things like that. As you can see, I just quickly skipped over the Tarn task. We went to the Tarn's lair to do Terror Dogs. Now I strongly advise you guys, do not do Terror Dogs. It is an absolute shocking task, and the funny thing was, here's a little tip: if you do co-op Slayer, then it can be actually quite useful. The reason for it is sometimes if you actually do the Slayer task as a co-op, then yes, you may get less points. But if you use the method of going into a co-op Slayer task, getting a task when you've got someone in your party, and then if the task is terrible, rather than skipping it and losing 30 points, if you're trying to gain those points to either upgrade your Slayer helmet or unlock or learn different abilities as a Slayer, so such as finishing them off early, which comes in useful at Gargoyles, or maybe you want to learn how to create and produce Slayer rings, things like that, which costs quite a hefty amount of points. You're looking at like 300 points there, which can take some time to build up, quite a few hours of slaying. So a tip is to get someone in your party, so do a co-op task, and then if it's a terrible task, both of you go and do it and get it done quickly, then get a few little points in the process, get the task done in around 15-20 minutes, and then go back and get another one. If the task is really good experience per hour, such as Abyssal Demons for example, or even Gargoyles, things like that, then you split off, go into either separate areas, separate worlds, and essentially go and do that task yourself, or obviously leave the party, and you'll get more points for that, more experience, etc. But it allows you to build up those points, and it it restricts you, or it prevents you from actually cancelling those tasks and essentially losing 30 points. So little tip for you there, which a mate of mine called Skype gave me that tip, and we did a bit of co-op Slayer over the weekend. Now, yeah, some may say, well, just do solo and just keep skipping those tasks which are really tedious, etc., and then you can do faster tasks and get more points that way. Now, there's probably two ways to go about it at the end of the day. What way do you prefer? Do you like the idea of doing co-op Slayer and that method, etc.? Let me know what you think, because I'm no expert yet, but I'm definitely working on that. So, Greater Demons, I would advise if you have the points, skip this task because the experience rates are not that great. But now moving on to the Desert Strike Worms, I think they're called. These guys were awesome, and if you look at the graphics as well of this, I absolutely love this area. This is an Al-Kharid. It's literally east of where you spawn, essentially on the lodestone, and it's a very, very nice task to do. The experience rates seem quite nice. It's around 70k experience an hour or something, which is fairly good, to be honest. It's quite reasonable, and it was quite a fun task to do, like I said. So you could run about. I got to use my Drygors on Torva and was absolutely taking them out. I didn't even need overloads, and I just kept whipping on Revolution every so often, and then using a Threshold, so using Destroy and Assault, and really taking advantage of those the dual wielded ability of Destroy, as you can see here. And this task I really enjoyed, so again, strongly recommend you guys to do this if you're not sure of it already. As you can see there in the left hand corner of the screen, I'm just getting invited by a mate. So yeah, guys, this week's been a very busy and hectic week for me at work. It's only my second week, literally my only second week, I think, in work, so it's pretty crazy. Still getting used to it and adjusting and adapting to my role. Bigger team, literally 2 different teams now. I'm finding out that I'm managing now, so 2 teams, and so yeah, it's a lot of work anyway. But because of that, I have been quite tired after work, and so haven't had the energy to produce videos. Now, it does take a bit. If you work all day, you'll understand basically where I'm coming from, in the aspect of when you come home from work, your brain is slowly dying because you've just been using it so much at work all day, if that's the job which you're in. And because I've been using my brain a lot at work, when I come home, it's quite hard to articulate my words, and my brain sort of stops and jutters. But essentially that's why I don't produce videos every day, and the reason for that is because I want my content to be quality, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I can spend a bit too long trying to re-edit videos, etc. So I'm really happy that I've got a series like this which I can bring out to you hopefully weekly, because it allows me just to be myself, speak naturally, just off the top of my tongue, and it's a bit more interactive and natural with you guys as well. But my main as well each week is to definitely upload one video where there's been a lot of research involved in it, and where it's nice and concise for you. So whether that's a guide or a walkthrough. So usually, like for example, the Virago tips and tricks video, if you guys enjoyed that series, then a video like that will be out each week. I've just recently uploaded a couple of days ago the damage reduction video. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go and watch that if you're into that. So if you want to find out about that sort of information, I know I was highly interested in that aspect of it, and I had to jump straight over to the beta to go and research it myself. And some of the findings in there were very interesting, so I definitely recommend to go and watch it. The findings will be worthwhile, trust me, because damage reduction will be coming into the live game, and it gives you guys a bit of an insight before that happens, so you can plan out what gear setups you're going to have, maybe what gear you're going to buy potentially, and how it's going to change the way you PVM, because I know a lot of you subscribers out there are beloved PVMers and you love that part of the game, and that's awesome because so do I. So that video definitely gives you a bit of insight in how the new damage reduction feature is going to impact PVM, and it also does a good comparison, or a in-depth comparison, sorry, between Spirit Shields and the level 90 Barrow Shields. So definitely go and watch those. But as you can see, I'm at Armadil at the moment. Now, this is an Avenseas task, and when you go and kill Armadil, it does contribute to your Slayer level, and this was quite a fun task to do. For some reason though, I felt with Armadil armor and the Royal Crossbow, I just kept getting hit. I kept getting hit quite a lot, to be honest. I was quite annoyed at that. It might have been because I was using Revolution and I wasn't being as efficient with the abilities, so maybe guys, I would recommend not to use Revolution here, mostly because I just seem to be getting hit a lot. And with Ascension crossbows and Pernix. I know I trained 99 range with those here, and it was absolutely fine. It could be down to Revolution though as well. Maybe don't use Revolution. I'm sure there's a tip and where you can rearrange the Revolution bar to make it more efficient and allow you to stay there longer without having to click all the time. That's something which I will look into finding out, and as soon as I do, I will upload maybe a quick video on that, giving you some tips on what Revolution setup bars to create. That's a pretty good idea actually. So yeah, 91 Slayer! Awesome. So I've just achieved level 91 Slayer, guys. Definitely making some progress from when I started on my first episode where I was level 88 Slayer, so already 91. Very, very good progress there. But yeah, that idea which I've just gone through there, would you like to see something like that? You know, after trialing out Revolution a lot in Slayer and different bosses eventually, I may make a video on good setup bars to have, you know, the order of the basic abilities to have base, so then that'll give you a good order of DPS. And what's that? I just got a Crystallian key, so that was quite a shocker to be honest, because they're extremely rare. Even at Virago, you will get them there, but even at Virago they're not a common drop, and you get the Beam of Light there as well. So to get one from an Abyssal Demon, is that lucky, guys? I don't know. Is that lucky? Let me know. So you may be wondering what setup I'm using here at the Abyssal Demons, and I'm using Momentum, guys, since it was updated, and even before it was, to be honest, but especially since it's updated, you can now use ultimate abilities with Momentum, which comes in extremely useful. I'm using the Blood Burst spell, I think it's called, but I'm using Death Runes with it because Blood Runes are quite expensive. Later on you'll see me go back to Abyssal Demons and compare it with Drygores and Torva, but I think the Ancient's magic works quite well with the Abyssal Demons. It's a bit more AFKable, or not really AFKable as such, but the experience for magic is very nice. So if you want to train magic up, it's a bit expensive because you have to use runes, and you can use around 3,000 runes an hour, so it can be quite expensive, maybe even more than that, to be honest, per hour in terms of the death runes. It's quite a good experience per hour, guys, and you can just hit them all at once, like hit duplicate amount of Abyssal Demons and get them all together, and then just ancient magic them and KO them. So that's quite fun, and I find it's really quick as well. But I did want to try out Drygores and Torva, so I'll do that later on. As you can see, I've gone to Blue Dragons. Now, this isn't the best task in the world. The experience is absolutely terrible. If you're soloing, definitely recommend you to skip this task. But because I was with a friend here, Skype, we decided to go and do it, like I said earlier, with the method of co-op slaying. We decided to come and do it and just get the task done ASAP. And I already had my mage set up from Abyssal Demons, so I decided just to keep that. It is best recommended to use range against these guys with bolts, as you can see my mate doing, because they are weak to range. Now, I've gone back to Abyssal Demons with my Drygores and Torva setup, and with my Abyssal Demon mask on. I've also got Infernal Urns this time, which definitely came in useful because they give you that prayer experience. And guys, they are charged. I've actually remembered to charge the urns this time. So if any of you watched my previous video, it was an absolute fail because I forgot to charge the urns. I went all the way to this place, the Necrals, and yeah, that failed miserably. As you can see as well, the bottom right hand corner of my inventory, I'm using a contract. It's definitely worth talking to my good friend Marcus at the front of this Slayer tower to go and get a contract for your Slayer monster. If it's within this dungeon, you get an extra 20% Slayer experience per monster, I think, which comes in very, very handy for your experience gains. And also you get some combat experience as well if you trade the contract in at the end of the task. So yeah, all round, Marcus is an awesome guy. Now, technically, using melee is actually better against these Abyssal Demons than magic. But oh my god, my brain. As I said earlier, I don't think I'm going to take that bit out actually, because that's what I'm like, by the way, guys, and I do edit quite a bit. If my brain dies, then I just talk craziness and make that weird sound. Anyway, as you can see, I'm using Drygores and Torva for a change. Magic is obviously useful with Ancients, but Abyssal Demons are weak to melee. So I came and used Drygores and I completed my task, and to be honest, it was actually quite good and effective with Drygores. If you want to make money as well as slay, then use melee. The reason for that is because at the end of the day, you're going to have to pick things up anyway. The Ancients method is if you're not going to pick anything up and you can just constantly spam click the Abyssal Demons and get them all together. That's the only way that method works. If you want to actually click and pick up your rune helmets, your rune chain bodies. By the way, rune chain bodies are like 30k each at the moment, which is just astonishing. A really good moneymaker there actually. And if you want to pick up all those items and use a yak, for example, because then you can bank each item. If you've got level 96 summoning for the yak, it comes in extremely handy for those sort of tasks when you want to bank all the items you get. So yeah, I advise using melee, guys, to be honest, for Abyssal Demons if you want to make a bit of money in the process. If you want to train magic experience, go and use Ancients magic. Definitely worthwhile using that with momentum. Otherwise, melee with Revolution. Okay, so I ended up going to the skeletal wyverns, I don't even know how you say it, but these guys anyway, these freaky looking bone skeletal things, look like they're from the dinosaur ages, but obviously in a miniature version. Anyway, going off track a bit, these guys, when talking to my friends, a lot of them seem to hate them, and when I first came here I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use super anti-fire potion. Obviously a novice there, but now I've learnt that that doesn't work. You either have to use a DFS, a Dragonfire Shield, or another method which I found out works quite useful and is probably more efficient than obviously only being able to use a main hand, is just have Magic Protect on, just have food in your inventory, or obviously a unicorn, and then just you do that because they can only hit 200 or less. They do hit consistently, but at the end of the day, you just basically use a unicorn and you're absolutely fine. So there's a little tip for you guys if you want to do that task. And I think it's worth doing because I think the experience is quite nice. Okay, so back to Mithril Dragons, definitely one of my favourite tasks. And if only Curadel actually gave you and allocated more of them, that would be much better for the game. But I'm just emphasizing that I do have my Bone Crusher and I do have my Demon Horn necklace. I am not using Zealots this time. Really bad mistake on my last video. They look the same though, god damn it. But as you can see, I am using Demon Horn and Bone Crusher, and I'm also using these Silver Hawk boots. So this footage is taken now that I've acquired the Silver Hawk boots from the treasure chest, etc. I've made a video on that. If you haven't seen it, definitely go and check that out. It's quite a controversial topic, but probably one of the most popular topics currently in the game. Okay, so on to my next task. This is the Steel Dragons in Curadel's dungeon. This is one of my favourite tasks along with Mithril Dragons. I just love the experience per hour. I love absolutely owning them with Sunshine when I've got like 3 dragons around me. It just seems amazing experience. And also decent drops as well. It's not too bad. It's great to get Ferocious Rings here. Now, again, with this trip, I have gone Ferocious Rings OP. I just keep getting the drops, which is absolutely awesome. And there's level 92 Slayer, guys. So from when I started on my first episode, level 88, now I'm level 92 Slayer, guys. So I'm making some really decent progress. Throughout the week, I do Slayer here and there, but not that much. It's mainly just at the weekends. That's just proving now the experience. So 1.83 million Slayer experience so far on this series. Absolutely awesome within 2 episodes, so you can have an idea roughly of how many episodes potentially I'm gonna be launching for this series, going towards level 99 Slayer Master. You're looking at around maybe 7 weeks or so, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I might rejig it, you know, and different things like that. So this video has obviously been focused on co-op benefits, things like that. But Steel Dragons, definitely one of my most favourite tasks out of RuneScape. And I was getting a lot of Ferocious Rings in the process. So as you'll see, I did actually obtain 4 rings for this trip. Again, there's another one. I'm just seem to be getting very, very lucky here, and because I've upgraded my Slayer helmet, if you've watched that video, I can take off my Slayer helmet and then attach all of the rings or 30 charges to my Slayer helmet, and therefore it saves inventory space, and I can just keep teleporting straight back to Curadel and just increase that efficiency of experience per hour for Slayer. Alright guys, so that wraps up this week's episode for Slaying Sundays. I'm just going to show on screen me using an effigy, because I did manage to get 1 effigy this week from Slayer. And I had to use it on certain skills which I'm already 99 in, and essentially the reason for that is because effigies have obviously been updated now. You can only have 5 within your bank all at once, and also the more you have in the bank, the less chance of you receiving another one. So as soon as I get one, I'm just going to use it up with whatever skills I can and hopefully try and pick those which I'm not 99 in. Don't know, I think that's the best way to do it at the moment, due to me just to increase the chance basically of receiving more. What I haven't done, which I've just remembered, is do a price check of the Slayer tab now for this week. So I'm just going to head on down to the bank and do a price check of the Slayer tab, which I've got so far, and I'll show that on screen in a second, so I'll be right back. So yeah guys, this is my Slayer tab, all in the price check as you can see, and it has doubled from last week's episode. So last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago, was around 8 mil, around 8.2 mil GP. So on this episode now, I've got 16.1 mil GP, so it's doubled, with probably around about the double of experience as well. So quite a consistent moneymaker in terms of the XP per hour and the GP per hour when you add it all up. But 16 mil so far on my Slayer tab, quite happy about that, with only 1.9 million Slayer experience. So yeah, something to look forward to in the future going for 99. And thanks for watching anyway guys, and I will see you again soon in my next episode. Thanks a lot guys, bye.